Hello, everybody. I sleepy today. This is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and this is going to be my review for Attack on Titan Episode 1. As of this recording, I have 2 episodes left of Oron. I'm going to finish them later today, but I was taking a little bit of a break. That way I can, that way I can get my head clear, because these next 2 episodes are going to be cuckoo. Anyway, this episode is essentially, obviously, episode 1 of the whole entire show, so season 1, I guess you could say. And as far as what I know of the lore of the show, the Titans go around eating people, and apparently, even when they can't find people to eat, they can still survive for God only knows how long without it. So why do they feel the need to eat humans when they can survive without them? I don't know. Anyway, I'm guessing that's stuff that will be brought up at some point. Oh God, I'm so tired. Anyway, the humanity, essentially, a bunch of it was killed off by the Titans before, so a good portion of them built a gigantic wall around their settlement, actually 3 walls, one being the outermost one that many of the people live in, and then another one around the next part of the city, which I'm guessing is more well-off people or something like that, and I'm guessing that the innermost one is for the royalty and nobility. If I'm wrong, let me know. And the main characters, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, live in the outermost ring, I guess you could say. And for 100 years, those walls have kept the Titans out, and worst case, the Titans are just scratched at the walls. But in this episode, changes. Anyway, somehow they can go outside the walls without encountering Titans, even though we see later on there are Titans scratching at, clawing at the walls. So I guess they have entrances that the Titans haven't noticed or are smart enough to notice, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Eren and Mikasa head back inside with firewood, and they end up encountering some of the guards, and Eren's got a point when he's talking to them that them being drunk is not going to be a smart thing if the Titans decide they want to storm the gates, because then they'll be stumbling over each other and possibly getting themselves eaten in the process if, they do attack. So it's best that they be sober and on guard. And Eren also makes another point that they are kind of like cattle, essentially being herded into a pen, and that, it's not a good thing. And this kind of sobers the guy up at this point, because, you can tell his face isn't flushed anymore like it was before. So, he kind of sobered up at that. Thought of them being referred to as cattle by the Titans, essentially. Anyway, they end up hearing that the scouts ended up coming back, which is the team of people that they end up joining later. And, a bunch of them got eaten, and they were actually trying to scout an area that they can build a stronghold to try and, I guess, make a more of an area for humanity to develop in and also be able to defend, I guess, is what they were doing. And, a bunch of them got eaten and some got injured, and one of the mothers of one of the people in that group came up and asked where her son was. And her son had gotten eaten, and the only thing they found of him was one of his arms. And she asked them, did my son die fighting bravely and standing his ground, and did it help us in furthering our cause and all that? And at first he did say that her son did die bravely, and then he kind of started freaking out, saying that essentially he had sent his men to their deaths and that it was for nothing, because they weren't able to accomplish anything. So their deaths meant nothing. And yeah, it sucks. And we actually find out that Aaron's wanting to join that group. Or rather, the... not that particular group itself, but the thing as a whole. To be able to, defend against the Titans. And yeah, it was supposed to be a secret, and Mikasa ratted him out to his parents, and they weren't happy about it, or at least his mother wasn't. She was absolutely adamant that he would not do that, because I guess she didn't want to have to worry every day about whether he was going to come back alive or not. Later, they run into Armin, and yeah, apparently Mikasa's a badass. They see her coming up behind Eren, and they run for the hills. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, yeah, they start talking about all this stuff, and then a big explosion happens of lightning, and then suddenly a gigantic titan that's able to actually peer over the wall, whereas all the other titans, can't even come up to halfway. Not even halfway, I think. And it ends up kicking in the wall, causing a lot of homes to be destroyed, obviously, and people to die. And they go and check on their mother, and obviously, the house was destroyed, and she is under the rubble, their legs crushed, and they try to get her out. Obviously, they can't, because they can't really lift that whole entire roof off of her. And the guy that they were talking to before at the gate shows up and tries to go and, kill the Titan before it can come near them. But stops halfway or so when he sees the big grin on that thing's face, and I would be terrified too, and he just says, "I'm out," and he grabs the kids and runs. And obviously you can kind of guess what happens to the mother. The Titan grabs her and eats her. So yeah, Mikasa looked away before that happened, but Eren watched the whole thing. And I'm assuming this is going to mess with him in the head later, and I wouldn't be at all surprised. That kind of thing is very traumatizing. So yeah, essentially all their peace has gone. Their peace is gone, and things have gone to hell, essentially. And I feel bad for anybody who's still in that city at that point, trying to get out of there and get away from the Titans. And please don't spoil anything on what the Titans are, or where they came from, or anything like that, because I want to find that out as the show goes. Anyway, but yeah, I know Eren's big little secret that he doesn't even know about at this point. I know that much. But yeah, other than that, I don't know too much else, but I do know that Mikasa is not Eren's sister biologically. She is adopted, and I know her little origin story as well. But other than that, I don't know too much. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I will see everybody next time.